how good is, Israel Adesanya? He's undefeated in MMA, and he's had a very short run outside of the UFC. He came into the UFC with only a couple of MMA fights, and it's a matter of, he's got a ton of experience outside of the world of mixed martial arts with the world of kickboxing. And that's the only place I ever refereed Israel was in Glory Kickboxing. But his ability to keep a fight where he wants it to be. And that was the thing that really was the difference with his fight against Yoel Romero. Israel fights a certain way, and he needs someone to come after him. He's a counter striker. He likes when a guy takes shots because he counter strikes moves and lands his effective strikes off of their aggression. Well, Yoel kind of pulled the plug on that and just stood there, and which is going to make Israel come forward. And Israel is looking at a guy that was a silver medalist in the Olympics in freestyle wrestling. He's looking at a guy that was a world champion in freestyle wrestling. He's looking at a guy that is a genetic freak as far as his strength, his speed, even at an elder age, as far as he's over 40 years of age. And he's cautious because of it. I don't blame him. That sometimes styles make fights and sometimes styles kill fights. And it was the style that Yoel Romero brought against Israel that Israel was not prepared for. Israel figured that, and he and his coaches came up with a game plan of the way they thought Yoel would attack him. I think they looked at the Paulo Costa fight and looked at what Yoel did in that fight and based their game plan off of it. And Yoel did nothing of the sort of what he did in that last fight with Paulo Costa. So I think it threw Israel off, and that can happen. I think if you put those guys back in a fight together, it could still be just a snoozer fight, but it could also turn into just an incredible fight. So you never know. It's, certain guys need their opponents to do certain things. Pedro Hizzo was a guy that, man, he was awesome when someone came and attacked him. When someone came after him with an aggressive style, he ate them up because he was that counter striker. He wanted you to strike at him, and he wanted to land his counters and end it with a big heavy leg kick. He was great at it. But when guys wouldn't press him, he would wait. He would stand there. He would, I need you to do something for me to do something. And his offense just slowed down to basically nothing. So, it just depends on the style of fight. I think Israel Adesanya is fantastic. I know Paulo Costa is undefeated also. I've done a bunch of his fights. He is a monster inside of the cage. He hits like a truck. He's got a good gas tank. For a muscular guy, he really has a good gas tank. And I know he believes he's going to walk through Israel Adesanya. That ain't going to happen. I'm not saying that Paulo Costa can't win the fight, but he is not going to walk through that guy, because Paulo Costa's way of winning the fight is going through the strength of Israel Adesanya. The only guys that are going to cause Israel Adesanya concern are not strikers. They are guys that can actually take him off of his feet. No one's really been able to keep him off of his feet for very long. That's his concern, is not being in his realm of fighting, having to fight another man's game. And Paulo Costa doesn't bring that actual, skill set to this championship match. So I think it's, if anyone's saying that Paulo Costa is the favorite in this, I think you're wrong. I think Israel is the definite favorite in it. He's the guy that's got the higher level of striking skills overall. I don't think that he has the one punch power of Paulo Costa, but Israel Adesanya is the real deal. He's going to be around for as long as he wants. Okay. I'm not saying he can't be beat, but if he gets beat, trust me, he's still going to be in the mix, because he's going to be coming back and he's going to be getting better, because his fight IQ is very high. He is a smart fighter, and he normally makes guys fight his fight to where he can perform well.